This week's Parsha is Vayakhel-Pekudei, and in it we read about the building of the Mishkan in the wilderness, and the person in charge of the builders, the professional manager, so to speak, is of course Bezalel. And at one stage he comes to Moshe and he says, "Vayimu el Moshe lemor, mabim ha'am lavi midei ha'avodah." The people are bringing too much material. We've got more than enough material to construct what we need. You've got to stop the people bringing more. This is, of course, the first example in the Bible of professional workers saying they don't need any more and they will manage with what they have. And one of the questions that we can ask ourselves is with regards to this providing of a service. And I'm standing outside the VAT, the sales tax offices in Netanya, Mas Erech Musaf, and a pretty rundown set of offices they are. But interestingly, the idea of provision of a service has a very modern application. And I can explain it by what happened a few years ago where there was a real live court case involving VAT, and the Torah played its part in it. What happened was that a Sofer Stam was commissioned to write a Sefer Torah for a foreign client, and when he came to bill the client, he did not charge VAT because it was the provision of a service to a foreign resident. The VAT authorities in Israel were not happy with that and said, no, he's actually selling a Sefer Torah to a foreign resident, and if the papers weren't in order, it's the sale of a product, and therefore it should be taxed with the full 17% VAT, which on a $30,000 Sefer Torah can add a large sum of money. The case went to court, and interestingly, the judge actually went to look at the Torah and took his reasoning and rationale from the fact that in the Torah, in Devarim, we are commanded, each one of us, each Jew is commanded to write his own Sefer Torah. And the judge said, it's not like a regular mitzvah where you are obliged to do it yourself, as in giving tzedakah, giving charity. But there are mitzvot in the Bible that we are obliged to do, but we are allowed to employ the services of an agent. And in this case, Brit Milah would be a good example. I didn't offer to circumcise my own son, although it was my obligation. But you can and are permitted, and there's a whole explanation in the Gemara, to employ someone to write a Sefer Torah on your behalf, and you just add the final letter. And the judge based his ruling on the fact that the writing of a Sefer Torah actually was the provision of a service, in this case to a foreign resident, and because it was the provision of a service and not the provision of a good, it was actually ruled as being exempt from VAT. So whilst we can see that the Torah is still very much alive, it is also something that we can apply to our day-to-day business activity. Shabbat Shalom.